Hello and welcome to another episode of Back Nine Report with our good friend Mike May in the house tonight. Carlos is taking some leave of absence. He's got a lot of work on his plate right now, and so Mike's filling in and really doing a great job. Mike, welcome back to Back Nine Report.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor to fill the great shoes of Carlos. I know he'll be back one day soon, but in the meantime, we'll tag team it and talk golf and hopefully enlighten our audience.
Mike, I know you just spent the weekend down at French Lick. Give us an update. What things look like down there? Could you play golf? Or is it ready to go? What's going on?
The plan was not to play golf, but the weather on Saturday and Sunday, even today, was good enough for golf, especially the last 2 days. The group I was with, we actually took a walk around the Pete Dye course. It is closed right now, as is the Donna Ross course. So we possibly could have played the Valley course, which is the Tom Pindelow design. But walking around the fairways of the Dye course, grass is growing in well. It looks fairly green. And I think they're planning some type of opening maybe in March, mid-March, but it was pleasant conditions and the weather was quite conducive to golf this morning. I was amazed for late February in southern Indiana. So it should be a great season for golf at the Dye course.
Yeah, we want to mention to listeners in Wisconsin or Michigan or up here in Ohio. French Lick is pretty far south in Indiana. It's only about an hour north of Louisville, so it gets warmer down there a lot earlier. So if you want to plan a late winter trip, maybe late March, early April, you might catch some good weather. You might want to slip down there and get a couple rounds in. Mike, another thing I want to mention before we get started tonight, I started watching Full Swing on Netflix. That is outstanding. I've watched a couple of the episodes, the one on Joel Damon and on Damon, and the one on Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. Those are really well done. And I want to urge anybody that's listening to us or watching this, go to Netflix, watch Full Swing. I think there's 8 episodes or 9 episodes, something like that. Check them out. They're really, really well done. Mike, we want to talk tonight just a little bit about last weekend. And of course, we had the Genesis Invitational. And Tiger, there was a guy by the name of Tiger in the field who we haven't seen for a while. He actually made the cut and was able to play all 4 rounds. But we want to start off with the winner, Jon Rahm. This guy wins every week, Mike.
Rahm is on a hot streak. Sort of reminds me of how Johnny Miller was back in the 70s when he was the king of the desert and would always go into the Masters with a few wins. And I think the big question is how strong can he continue to be? Is this something that will last a few months? But he's been solid ever since he won at Torrey Pines in the U.S. Open, and we'd like to see him continue this hot streak through May and the Players, and hopefully into April with the Masters at Augusta.
Mike, this is his 10th career tour win already. I mean, it just seems like he joined the tour a couple years ago, and he's already got 10 wins. And he is just dominating right now. It's his 3rd win this season since October of last year. In 7 starts, his lowest finish has been a T8 at the Hero World Challenge. He's won 3 of his last 5, plus was 3rd at Phoenix and 7th at Torrey. He hasn't been outside the top 10 since the beginning of the calendar year. What's the limit for Rahm? Do you see a limit for this guy right now? He seems to have everything clicking and everything is working.
I see no stoppage point. He probably feels the same way. I'm not sure if he'll play Honda this coming week or not, but the only time he misses a cut is that he doesn't play the golf tournament. But he is definitely the man to beat. And that's saying something when you've got players like Scheffler and Thomas and Spieth in the field. So Jon Rahm, hottest player in the world. No, not surprised he's not number 1.
Yeah, what do you think? I know it's early, but we still got some time here yet. But is he like the early favorite right now for the Players and the Masters?
I definitely for the Players, the Masters. It's amazing with Augusta. People get hot 2 or 3 weeks out, and they win at Augusta. So on paper, yes, but in reality, it's just too early to say so. But it's I like to know what the odds are in Vegas. They're probably getting lower and lower by the week. But he's definitely the man to beat if you ask him, I'm sure.
Let's talk a little bit about Tiger Woods. He made the cut on the number, and I got to see quite a bit of his round on Friday, and I watched his round on, I'm sorry, on Thursday. I didn't see much of his round on Friday, just the highlights. But on Thursday, he was kind of struggling around, and he was playing okay. He was hitting the ball pretty well, missed some little putts, but he birdied 16, 17, and 18 to close out the round. And I mean, 17's a par five, but 16 and 18 are not birdie holes that much, okay? And he just looked fantastic doing it. So he had two good rounds out of the four. I really think he kind of proved to himself that he can play four rounds on one fairly good leg. Stamina, of course, Mike, is his issue, but he has all the shots and he has plenty of distance. I mean, he's bombing it out there 325. He's carrying it, 310, 315 in the air, and then the ball's rolling out. So he finished up T45 for the week with making the cut on the number. That means he beat 23 other guys in the field on the weekend, plus the 70 or so that missed the cut. So he beat 90 some guys on one good leg and a bad back. And the guy just looks, I mean, he's playing really well. If he just had two good legs or, didn't have to fight dragging that leg around, I mean, he would still be killing these guys at the age of 46, Mike.
His competitive zeal, his mental toughness, as good as any athlete in any sport in the world at any time. And again, considering how well he's doing with limited physical abilities, it's stunning. And again, you wish that we had a healthy Tiger because he would. I think it's safe to say he would have beaten Jack's record. Would be in the 20s when it comes to the championship. Yes. Look at his round. Good first round. Great third round, okay second round, good enough to make the cut, and just ran out of gas on Sunday, made five bogeys and just fell off the pace, but made the cut. And I saw him walk up the steps from 18 on Sunday, and he looked a little tired, but there's got to be a beginning, and here we are in late February. I don't think we'll see him again until Augusta. We might see him at the Players, but that remains to be seen, and it's up to him. And but he is a gritty player. His mental toughness may be stronger now than it was in his prime because it's in the past he could rely on his physical abilities, but mentally he's amazing, and it's great to see him out there. And don't count him out. If Tom Watson can maybe win the British Open at 59. Maybe Tiger could win the Masters, where he is a king of that course, just as Watson was a king of the Open on limited abilities. He's figured out how to do it, and there's no one better than Tiger.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just was thinking ahead a little bit. I hadn't really thought about this until you were talking there, but Bay Hill would be a really good place for Tiger to play. Then that would give him a gauge maybe on the Players, and that might be too soon after Bay Hill. But Bay Hill's not that hard of a walk. It's not that hilly there. That would be a good place for him to test his game. And then if he didn't want to play again, he could go right to the Masters. That would give him a break in between. And of course, the walk at the Players isn't that bad either. It's just that it's a really hard golf course, which is fine. But I don't know. One of those two, or maybe both of those, we might see Tiger in the field for those. That'll be something to look for. Mike, we want to talk too. We can't neglect Max Homa, the defending champ of this thing. He was right in the mix right up till the end. He's playing at an extremely high level right now. Since September, he's had 2 wins. Now he has a runners up and a third place finish in 7 starts. So next to Rahm, I mean, he's playing about as good as anybody else in the world right now. In his 4 starts since the beginning of the year, he has a runner-up, a third, 4 starts, very strong fields. He's playing really good golf right now.
Now, Max is Mr. Incognito in the tour. He just keeps showing up and finishing high. He's not a household name yet, but it's a name we've been watching on the leaderboards for quite a few months, and he just keeps popping up. He was on the President's Cup team, if I do recall, and he is the kind of guy that almost like Scotty Scheffler could pop up and win the Masters in April, and you might be surprised, but you shouldn't be because he's playing so well and he's playing a lot of confidence. And I think he's off the radar screen. And if he's walking through an airport, no one's recognizing Max Homa, but they are recognizing John Rahm and Scheffler and Thomas and Spieth. So Homa is sneaky good, and his consistency is almost on par with John Rahm.
Yeah, another guy we've kind of been watching, and I want to mention Will Zalatoris jumped up and had a fourth place finish. Had a fantastic round on Sunday. I think the lowest, one of the lowest rounds of the week. Really, really played well. I think he had 8 birdies and one bogey, so I think he was 7 under 64, I believe. So coming back from his back injury, this was by far his best finish. Looks like he's rounding into shape. And you know what he does at majors? He's always at the top of the leaderboard. You know, when the big, so like when the players comes around or the Masters comes around, look for Will Zalatoris to be there. And Mike, I just want to say, you know, that the PGA Tour is really in a good place right now. You got Rory, you got Rahm, Scheffler, all playing musical chairs for the #1 spot. Then you got Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Xander Schauffele, Max Homa, Patrick Cantlay, all can win at any time. So it's not just one or two guys. It's not like the years where we had Tiger is always a favorite, or Jack is always a favorite, or Arnold, or Tom Watson. No, there's a whole group here of about 10 guys that could jump up and win any week if they make a few putts. I really like this. I think the tour is in a great place right now, Mike.
I agree, and I think we will digress into this topic on future episodes. But those live golf players who are not playing right now and looking at these young guns who are playing well, garnering headlines, winning, Tiger's back. It's they're sort of the forgotten players, and I wonder if in the back of their minds they're a little envious of the publicity and the exposure that they're getting. But yeah, your gang of 10, you're probably looking at 10 to 12 players who can easily win the Masters or the Players, as much as Rahm was #1 and Scheffler was the defending champ. They're not the only ones who could win, and then you never know, you might have a player from outside the top 25 who just gets hot that week. So we'll see, but everything's trending with Rahm, Scheffler, and Max Homa could well win as easily as anyone else.
Just to wrap this segment up, Ricky Fowler and Jason Day, two veterans that have been struggling to return, get their games back. Ricky made another cut with a T20 at Riviera, so that's a good, solid week for him. And Jason Day had another great week with a T9. I think I'm going to make a prediction. We're going to see Jason Day win a tournament someplace along. He's playing really well right now. So we just had consecutive designated field events. The leaderboards have been filled with the guys you want to see. We just documented that. We just talked about it. It's fantastic. Now we're heading to Florida for the Florida Swing. We got the Honda, the API, and the players down there, and the Valspar. There's going to be some great tournament action in Florida. And before we get away from this, I just want to mention one thing. Bernhard Langer picked up his 45th Champions Tour win to tie Hale Irwin for the career win record at 64 years old. Is that amazing or what?
He is like the Energizer Bunny. He's got ever-ready batteries inside his body. And again, it just goes to show you how fitness, and again, he's a very mentally strong player who practices and maintains his weight and his fitness. And while 64 may appear to be old, he doesn't probably look 64. I don't think he looks 64. He doesn't feel 64. He doesn't play 64. So what does it matter?
The LPGA gets back into action this week in Thailand. You're not going over there to see the girls this week, so but we can watch that probably on the Golf Channel. And I want to just mention to all our listeners, thanks so much for watching Back on Report TV. We hope that you'll also visit OhioGolfJournal.com, IndianaGolfJournal.com, and MichiganGolfJournal.com for all the latest news and information and some interesting stories and things that we put in there. So, Mike, anything else before we wrap this up?
No, it's an exciting start to the PGA Tour season. Good to see the ladies are back in action in Asia. They'll be back in the U.S. At the end of March in Arizona. And all things are trending positive, and it should be an exciting 2023. and it'll be great to see Tiger back in the mix. And let's hope he makes cuts wherever he goes. It certainly makes the TV people happy.
Thanks a lot for listening. We'll catch you next time on Back Nine Report.